Would you like to introduce our players for us?
Here we are. We are on Whirlwind, and to the bottom left we have our third player, Liquid Snute.
And to the bottom right, we have our red Terran player, Acer MMA. These guys have given us quite a show today.
Yeah, definitely. And I think actually that this map could be better for Snute. It would be easier for him to secure 4 bases kind of fast, since the map is so big. On the other hand, MMA got the better positions here. Cross positions would have been a lot better for Snute, and in this case MMA got the closer positions, and yeah, I think it's better for the turn player.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, though. I kind of look at this and I think, well, MMA opened up Reapers on both the first and second map, and Snute kind of had this fake aggression type where he got the fast Roach Horn and used it defensively. Maybe knowing that MMA really has no choice but to command center first does give him that mindset where he says, okay, I can actually go build the Roach Horn at the same time, put power out and go for a super attack. So that's what I'm mostly interested in. I'd like to see some more aggression from Snute, just because I feel MMA's his cards are all on the table. He's not the kind of guy that's gonna go open up with any kind of aggressive play.
Yeah. Snute is definitely going to go for this hatch first. He went out with a drone to scout a bit before, just to see, so that there were no 2 racks very close. He will not be able to scout the position of MMA very, very fast. So I think that sending the Overlord over to the right at the start would have been a better choice for Snute. I think in general it's better to send your Overlord to that high ground spot over the natural base. It's so hard to explain what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
But either way, Snute wasn't very lucky with his Overlord patterns, and MMA will for sure get away with his command center first, on the low ground even.
Yeah, a nice little touch of greed, but yeah, it's this spot that Matalisk refers to. The Overlord can kind of park over here, and it can see the ramp. It'll also be able to spot the command center. You can usually see fast expands from this position. But when you go straight to the top, sometimes you can't make it over to that position if they open up with like a 1 barracks fast expand or something like that. So I know what you mean.
Yeah. On the other hand, now Snute got to scout both of those positions, both the top left and the bottom right. So that's good too. And MMA is setting him up. Yeah, he's taking the gas, probably gonna put down a factory in a while, and going for those reacted Hellions.
Yeah, fairly standard play, really, from MMA. He's not doing anything that kind of deviates from the norm at all. But Snute, I think it's fair to say that there's nothing wrong with opening gas versus Reaper builds, but on this map now, he knows about the CC first. How much gas does he mind? Are we going to see Snute go for this aggression, or does he just want Ling speed? Is it even possible that he'll just try to chance an early Ling push?
I don't think that he's gonna do some early Ling push. He is going for the speed and he's continuing to mine gas, but in Snute's case this doesn't mean anything, because it's very likely that he's just going to use the gas to go for that Overlord speed. He really likes to be on top of the scouting, as we talked about before. But I think that in this case, this is not a very good opening for Snute versus what MMA is doing, because MMA he got the command center first, he has a really good economy going for him, and Snute kind of wasted those minerals on gas.
Yeah, and that's actually, it's more interesting that you say that now, because MMA, I kind of feel silly for throwing that out there earlier about how he kind of likes to macro up, but he is going to go for that 3 barracks play. So I'm going to ask for your forgiveness, but this is actually going to get very interesting. And you know what the cool thing though is, because you're of course right about Snute's build choice going for that Overlord speed. He will see this play from MMA. He will be able to scout out the 3 barracks style. So I feel that Snute taking this third base, he can do it rather comfortably. He's going to know exactly what's coming at him. He just needs to be a little bit prepared. And I feel like the key to holding off really early bio play like this, Roaches can work just fine, and Banelings, both of which Snute loves to make.
Yeah, so Snute is going to make some roaches as soon as the roach swarm finishes, just to be able to deal with those Hellions. And like you said, the Overlord speed is done, and he's going to be able to scout all of this. He knows exactly what's going on, and he's going to be able to adapt. He knows that there is no third command center. He doesn't have 2 engineering bays, 1 engineering bay coming down. And yes, Snute is going to be on top of this. Yeah. Just very well played, very well scouted, as always, when it comes to him. I hope to see some more creep spread this time, though. We will see. It's going at the moment, so maybe he will continue with that this time. But that's kind of what Snute is doing. He's always going for only those 3 queens, and he's not adding on more. So that's why it's harder for him to get the creep spread going.
Yeah, and, you know, it's perfectly understandable the way that Snute's build works. Snute doesn't really play a blind style. You know, it's kind of a shared trait between him and we kind of call him the creator of this style that Snute plays, Hyun, where they get the very fast, they make that investment into the early speed so that they can get the scouting information, and then they just play purely based on what they scout. They don't have to worry about catching a push out on creep. They can go in, see those barracks, and know when the attack is coming. And even just making this handful of roaches is so smart for Snute. You can keep the Hellions away, and you know, MMA doesn't really scout anything with that poke. He's like, okay, yes, you have a roach horn, you have evolution chambers. These are both things that I know you're going to build anyway at this point, but Baneling Nest and a lot of Speedlings on the way for Snute.
Yeah, Snute, he knows for sure when he needs to start building units, and he knows that... Actually, I thought that he was going to make maybe 4 or 5 more drones, because usually he wants to have 16 drones on minerals in each of the bases. He only has 30 now in the 3rd base, but either way, he's going to mass up units now. He's actually making a few more drones, then just massing units, massing roaches, massing lings, massing banelings, and he's going to hold this off, and I don't think that MMA is going to be able to do a lot with this push.
Yeah, it's not necessarily meant to kill the Zerg, but you definitely want to do damage because of how late the 3rd command center comes in. These Hellions, though, pick off a few drones, nothing serious. He could have gotten a lot more there in a little second. If those Zerglings were a couple seconds later, that whole drone line could have been roasted. But here's the double drop in the bottom. The Lings and the Banelings are already there. The Queen is already in position. Where is he going to find space to drop?
Yeah, that drop is not going to do much, and Snute is doing a good job here. But the Marines got a very good position. There are some Banelings in the main base though. Snute has to use them, and they were a bit late to the party, so MMA doing a really good job there, splitting up his Marines, and Snute is going to take a lot of damage here. I didn't think that MMA was going to be able to do anything with that drop, but good job by him.
Yeah, I'm really surprised.
Yeah,
I'm really surprised that he was able to get, find a place for those Marines to land. He's like air traffic control master right there. Getting those in a position. His Hellion scouts the 4th base. Snute, of course, wants that fast 4th. But here we have another double drop already about to hit the main base, and there are a few Banelings, but not really that many.
So many Marines coming into the main base. And yeah, like you say, there are not a lot of units close to this for Snute. He's losing a queen, he's losing a few drones, and he has to send like all of his army back, but he basically has no army.
Yeah, and he did a great job of dwindling the Baneling count. The Marauder
and the spawning
tanked it
pool is gonna
beautifully.
go down. Snute has to restart that spawning pool. There it is. But damage is done, and not just that MMA killed off a lot there, he also managed to delay all of that mining time, and the mining time loss it's kind of big.
Yeah, he delayed the production as well. I mean, he can't make any more Lings, he can only make the Roaches. They're not quite as fast, and I even love this little play. MMA does get the Viking out. He's gonna go poke away these Overlords.
On the 4th base, Snute needs that 4th base. He really wants that 4th base. We know that Snute doesn't like to play on 3 bases versus Terran, and yeah, do you think it's gonna go down? Nah, he's gonna be able to save it.
Yeah, he should be able to barely save it. With good control, MMA might find a little spot where he can kind of drop a few. The problem here for Snute is that, you know, losing the ability to make Zerglings for a little bit kind of hinders the mobility of his army. The Roaches don't move as fast, like I said, so he can pull them each way and the other and just kind of stretch out Snute is really the goal here. And now he's already getting to work on the natural mineral line. And you know, there's a Spire on the way. There's 2-2 on the way, but MMA, he's doing damage in other places. I think it's helping him out quite a bit.
Yeah, the story here is that if we say the first game, Snute managed to get the 4th base up very, very early and got the economical lead and managed to win from there, basically. The second game, he didn't get his 3rd up, his 4th up, but he managed to delay the 3rd base of MMA. In this game, however, he did not manage to delay the 3rd base a lot, and he also didn't manage to get his 4th base up, so I think that it's going to be very tough for Snute in this game here.
Yeah, I mean, if he can get it secured, then that's fine. But you know, the other thing to consider is that this hatchery, even though it's alive, it has such low health. It could get sniped off so easily. Another drop hits the main base, not able to really hit its mark. I think it might have actually dropped that straight on the banelings. It kind of disappeared very quickly. But MMA now pressing out on towards the center of the map. There is some creep here, so we should see a scan to help clean it up. At the same time, he's going to drop 2 Marines in the main base mineral line of Snute. Lings are there to stop it. But like I said, there's a lot of banelings on the way here for Snute. Will this be able to protect this hatchery? He really can't afford to lose it. The banelings get a great positioning, and all of these Marines actually taking a huge amount of damage.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that Snute is managing to have this high of a supply compared to MMA, even though he's constantly losing to all of those drops. MMA is doing such a good job with the drops everywhere, all the time, and he's controlling them really well. But I think that the drop play has come to an end with all of those Mutalisks coming out here. 6 more on the way, already 17 out, and maybe they were coming there. Anyway, lots of Mutas out on the map, some Overseers together with them, and yeah, MMA has a supply lead, but I think that Snute has a better unit composition than he had before, so maybe he can manage to do something with this.
Yeah, it won't be easy. He's already retreating off of the creep here. The Widow Mines having some difficulty getting burrowed. None of them are actually really going to be able to detonate here, so a nice little shove by Snute. He wants to keep MMA from getting those mines burrowed in a good position. And, you know, he has another drop actually heading in towards the main base now into that mineral line. The Marines coming out. He still has that push coming. And even has the Vikings still hunting down Overlord. So these Marines just want to distract. He wants to distract Snute's Mutalisks. While these Marines go to town, they just eviscerated this main base. Oh,
they're doing so much damage.
Yeah, and you know, the medevacs are here. These few Marines are actually very, very difficult to kill. Another wave of reinforcements is coming in for MMA. Snute, he's got Zerglings, but they're actually all choked up here next to, in between these 2 hatcheries. He kills off absolutely everything. The banelings are finally going to arrive, but now the 4th base is in danger once again. All of the units, all of the resources had to be expended to save the main. And this
but MMA just traded too efficiently there for Snute to be able to remax in time. He is now down to 125 supply versus an almost maxed out Terran. This is going to be terribly hard, and that 4th base is going to go down. Snute is going to be back to 3 bases. He has a 4th hatchery, but there are no drones getting out alive from this base, so he will not have enough drones to use that 4th base anyway. Now we have the maxed out MMA, 116, 113 supply from Snute. And this is looking like Snute is falling apart.
Yeah,
GG.
That's all he can do. GG.